unless you've been living under a rock for the last few weeks, you know what has happened in Canada. A number of truckers essentially took Ottawa and parked there and sort of strangled the city. And I don't mean that with the negative connotation. It sounds like the city sort of needs to be strangled.
Yes.
And in fact, I think in any sort of combat terms, they won the city because Justin Trudeau retreated and left the city to the truckers, making two excuses, not just one, COVID and his own safety concerns. Now Americans have, in a weird reversal that should terrify every American out there, Americans are taking a cue from Canadians.
Yeah.
And we're forming our own People's Convoy. And that convoy will start in California and wind its way through the United States and end up in Washington, D.C., near the State of the Union address, near the time for the State of the Union address. In fact, I think we've got the route there that we can put up on the screen, perhaps. Yeah, there it is. So you can see it's going to start in California, a little bit north, about 50 miles north of L.A., and then it is going to wind and wind its way across the country. And there are conflicting reports here. Some people are saying they're going to get there about March the 5th. We know the State of the Union is on March the 1st. There was some chatter about they're trying to get there by the 1st. And also people speculating what in the heck would happen if truckers take over the Beltway in the middle of the State of the Union. Will they have the State of the Union? Will they have it there? Will they go somewhere else? What will they do? I'm sure Trump would host it at Mar-a-Lago without a problem. He would offer his venue. So I want to give you just a few details that Reuters was reporting on this, and then we want to discuss a little bit. 24 18-wheeler trucks, along with some 50 pickup trucks and RVs, left Adelanto, California. That's about 80 miles northeast of Los Angeles. By the way, thank you, Reuters. They also tell us that's 130 kilometers north of Los Angeles.
We're not
we really
Canadians
needed to know that. Beginning an 11-day, an 11-day trek to the Beltway. This is for our freedoms, our human rights. Enough is enough, said Ron Coleman, 61, a trucker from Reno, Nevada. Is he prepared to make the 2,500-mile, 4,000-kilometer journey? So that I like. They are raising money for it right now. They've raised about $500,000 for these truckers. The quote that I love, though, and I'm going to ask you guys about this, the quote that I love came from the spokesman for another convoy. So there are multiple trucker convoys that are going to try to meet up along the way, apparently. So we don't know how big this thing's going to be once they get there. But the head of one of the other convoys, Bob Bolus, told a Fox News TV station that it would be like, quote, a giant boa constrictor that basically squeezes you, chokes you, and it swallows you. That's what we're going to do to D.C.
Wow.
Oh, I love it.
Bob Bolus says. So
I love it.
Have we reached the point where D.C. needs to be encircled, crushed, and swallowed?
Well, I do think that the swamp still has plenty of draining to do, even with Trump leaving.
It's a good place for boa constrictors.
Yeah.
Swamp.
Yes.
And so I think that I honestly am a little surprised that he would go out and say that, just because we've seen how the media has tried to twist a lot of what people who were at January 6th were doing. Obviously, we don't support people who went into the Capitol and whatever, take your pick on that. But just knowing how kind of crazy everything's gotten and how people have just been shoved into things, and Ashley Babbitt's death just going uncovered, it worries me a little bit, because we saw with Canada, with the Freedom Convoy there, that they kind of tried to turn it into their own January 6th. And I don't think that it would be surprising if they tried to do that again in the United States.